So let's look at business models. This module is on e-business, and for any business, it's really important to start with a general overview of the business and all of the important aspects. So what does a business model look like? Those of you who are the regular students here at the Hague University of Applied Sciences would have done a very in-depth business model in, I believe it's IP2, where you analysed all different aspects of the business. You'll be pleased to know in this module we simplify that quite a lot, and you'll be doing a one-page plan called the Business Model Canvas I'll talk more about in a minute. Who uses them? Every single business, from a tiny micro business of one person right through to every massive organisation and all the big brand names you've heard of. Why use them? Because it's really important to get an overview of all the parts of a business that all work together. You can also do a bit more research, like I'll continue to encourage you every week, especially by year 2 in your studies. You need to be doing research for yourself. I will certainly give you some tips, as will your lecturers, and we're here to guide you and coach you and encourage you, but we're not here to tell you exactly the answer to every single question so that you can feed it back to us. So these are a few things to get you thinking. How often do you update a business plan? It depends on the size of the business. There's no standard answer to this, but a lot of businesses do this annually. But ultimately, a business plan or a business model should be something that's looked at regularly and is active, not just something that gets done and shoved on a shelf. So the business model canvas is just one of many different types of business plans and models that businesses will use, but it is extremely popular. And personally, I've worked with this plan for many years, I think probably about 8 years or so, and I've worked with it in very small businesses and in my own one-person business that I run. But I was surprised and actually really pleased to see that I've been to events for big organizations like Shell that also use this exact same business model. There's a really great book that you can get and read through on this in great depth. You don't need to do well in this module, but it is available. There's also a short video. The link is there. We'll also share that link in Blackboard and show this video in the workshops this week. But why it's become so popular is it's quite a simple idea, but it's very, very powerful. As you'll see, it covers all important aspects of a business and shows how they link together. So this is a business model canvas. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different areas that represent an entire business. So I won't go through them in great detail on this online lecture, because you'll be doing them in the workshops, and we expect that you go and do a bit more research and learn about it yourself. We're just telling you that this is the model that you should look into, and I'll give you a few little tips about where to get started. But each of these 9 areas of the business model canvas or business plan will represent every single aspect of any business. So here's a few ideas and inspiration of how to get started. So see, this is for the customers and revenue. So that's one section of this. So more on the customer relationships, the customer segment side on the right-hand side there. But all of these type of questions that you're asking yourself relate to this model here. So when you go to the workshops this week, you'll be able to ask your lecturer to describe this in more detail, and it'll make more sense when you watch the video. But what I'm showing you here in this lecture is that all these types of questions that you ask yourself in a business, and that you'll be asking yourself to do this assignment, will be represented by very simple ideas on this canvas, and then you will describe them in more detail in your report. So you'll write underneath. So Nespresso is one example. I believe that you can find an example on YouTube if you have a look through. And Nespresso, or any other business that you can think of, you'll go through each of these sections, and we'll do this in the workshop this week. List the key partners, describe the key activities, and so on and so on. Part of the magic of this very simple canvas is that In workshops, often you work with post-it notes, or in your report, it'll be just dot points in each of these. You can even do handwritten ones. But the actual A4 canvas itself is using really only 1, 2, 3 words at a time to represent the answers to all of those kind of questions. So it's not a very full canvas where you're writing a whole stack of things on this business plan. It's just words and dot points so that you can see your business plan at a glance. In the report, in the assignment, for each of those 9 areas, you will get the opportunity to explain yourself in a bit more detail as well. So you'll be able to write a few sentences. For example, on the right-hand side here, why are customer segments just households? Or on the left-hand side here, the key partners. You might describe why Nespresso would have coffee growers or a machine manufacturer as their key partners. Now, in your assignment, you'll be applying this to a business or a case study that you choose, and it cannot be a really big one like Nespresso. It has to be a small business of around about 10 employees so that we can keep it nice and small, and you'll understand that more when we do assignment 2 as well, because by having a big business, you're making it too complicated. So we need to keep things really simple. But I'm showing you this as an example of how powerful this business model can be. So let's move on to personas. So that last section, we looked at a brief business model canvas. That's one area of how you analyze a business. And in your assignment, you'll be doing a business overview and analysis using the business model canvas and some descriptive sentences. You will also be doing a target market analysis by using personas. If you've never worked with personas before, this is just a really brief example. You're first trying to understand who the target market is for your business that you're analyzing, so this case study that you've chosen, and you'll be coming up with a persona, which is a representation of your target market. You'll be doing 2, so you'll be picking 2 different aspects of target market, and you'll start to try to understand. Now, these are not a real person. They represent a group of people. And you go through and start to try and think about their background, their demographics, goals, hobbies and interests, challenges, common objections, biggest fears, that kind of thing. You're trying to understand who the ideal customers are for your business as a target market, and then you're converting that into creating a persona. So what is it? What does a business persona look like, and who uses them? Is this still effective, useful and valid, and how to create them? So again, we're prompting you with a few questions, and then you'll work through these in the workshops as well as doing your own research. So to create your own, there's a lot of different templates, free templates out there. I'm giving you a few tips. You can also just Google personas or marketing personas. This is one through HubSpot. You can see the link there. In most of these free ones, you'll have to give your email address and a few details because they're giving these personas away to try and market to you. But it's up to you whether you decide to sign up or just create your own, like a very simple one like that. But that's one template that you could consider using. Something I discovered really recently to understand personas better is a app that you can download. Go to yourprimer.com. These are Google marketing lessons. Really great resource. I've just discovered myself a few weeks ago and have been using. Here they've got on the screen, you're seeing tips for building a successful website, but they've also got one about using personas. So you can check that out. There's another website called Fake Crow. Last year's e-business personas, a lot of students decided to use this. Again, you need to sign up with your email address, but you can always opt out of any emails they want to send you or any marketing emails later. And you are creating a representation, to repeat, a representation of your target market in a persona. Different areas that you'll be using are their gender, their age, their occupation, language barrier, incomes, and how it relates to the e-business world. This might seem familiar as well, target markets and segmentation from your marketing, your first year marketing. And you'll be creating 2 of these personas for your assignment. So if you've never worked with personas before, this might seem like a lot of information to take in at first, but go and do a bit more research, come to the workshops, we'll talk about it a bit more, and it will start to make more sense. And if you get stuck, you can always come and ask in the Facebook group, or bring your draft personas along to the workshops, and your lecturers and fellow students can help you with them. But a business model canvas and 2 personas are part of your assignment and are really great business skills and tools to learn, which you'll be using not just for this assignment, but right through your studies and your business career. And moving on to the case study. So this is just one example I've chosen. I used to do some work with the Feel at Home in the Hague Fair. We have one of our interns in there, and it's a Hague-based business. So this is just one example of choosing a case study. You need to find a business, a small business based anywhere in the world that has a website that you can use for this assignment. So I'm just using this as an example. I don't want people all using the same one for this assignment, but to show you that find either a local business or one in your home country if you're not from the Netherlands. The Google Digital Garage that you're watching also use quite a lot of case studies with the guy that has a balloon company, hot air balloon company in the UK, or the Cupcake Store. You could choose a hairdresser, an author for a book. There's lots of ideas. So again, in the workshops, we will go through a few ideas with you and you'll choose one. But just a reminder that you will need to choose a case study. This lecture is for week 2. You really need to have a case study chosen by the end of week 2, or you're going to slip behind, ideally at the beginning of this week. So a bit of homework for this week, which also aligns with the workshops. So those of you who have workshops early in the week, I'm recording this lecture on a Sunday night. I have classes on a Monday. Some of the workshops are later in the week, so it depends on when your workshop is, whether you've had time to do this before the workshop or not. But you want to make sure that you download and read the assignment 1 and bring along questions. Select a business for your case study as soon as possible. Start thinking about your target market and personas, and we'll practice those in the workshop. And in the second workshop, which is coming up in week 4, you can bring a draft or your final one, really, getting along in this block for your lecturers to have a look at, or your fellow students. And you can visit the website Business Model Generation and get used to working with a business model canvas. So the workshops, as I've said a few times, will be this week. As I am recording this, it is week 2. The AP students might be watching this lecture at a later date, or anyone that's watching it in the future. In the schedule, it is week 2, which is the 4th to 10th of September 2017. So depending on when you're listening to it, you'll be hopefully coming along to the workshop this week. So we will go through the business overview and analysis. We will work on the business model canvas. The ICT analysis will help get you started, and the target model analysis, the personas. The workshops are not meant to do these in great depth. It's just to give you an opportunity after you've listened to the online lectures to have a chance to come and talk to your lecturers face to face. And if you like, work in groups with your classmates, because it's an individual assignment, but we really encourage you to kind of work together. You're all working on a similar assignment, so you can share skills and help give each other feedback. If you have any questions, please come and ask in the Facebook group. I just did a Q&A, which I posted on both the discussion board on Blackboard, as well as in the Facebook group, of all your questions from the intake survey. But if you keep asking questions online, I don't mind whether they're on Blackboard in the discussion board, in the Facebook group. I will do my best to answer them, as will your other lecturers. So we're really looking forward to meeting you face to face this week. So that concludes the second week eBusiness online lecture. And we wish you all the best with your study this week. Come and ask us any questions if you need to.